Morning, everybody that's here with us today for one more section of the backpack series. Just remember, we recording this section, so if you have any questions, we love to hear you. Just remember to keep the privacy, names and stuff private, because we're recording and we're gonna put it live later on in our social media. So my name is Vanessa Pollack, and I'm a parent consultant with the Connecticut Parent Center. And for those who doesn't know who we are the Parent Training Center information for the state of Connecticut. And by law, every state have a PTI, and we are the ones for Connecticut. Our mission is to empower families and children with disability and developmental delays from age 0 to 26 and the professionals that serves them. We provide telephone consultation, trainings and programs, and our goal is for the parents to become their child best advocate and give them the tools that they need to support their children. Today's training, it's a new year, new routines. Our trainer, Bethanne, unfortunately got sick and she's not gonna be able to be with us, but me and Adriana Fontaine, they're also gonna introduce herself. We're gonna do this, so be there with us and welcome again.
Thank you, Vanessa. And hi, my name is Adriana Fontaine. I am the Early Childhood Supports Programs Manager. And like Vanessa said, we're going to be talking about new year, new routines, and how to set morning routines for your young children at home. And for those who just joined, I would like to remind you that we do have interpretation services. So I'm going to say it in Espanol again. Para los que se acaban de unir, quiero dejarles saber que tenemos interpretación en español, así que en la parte de abajo de sus pantallas, por favor seleccionen el icono del globo y accesen para que puedan acceder a la presentación en español, en su idioma seleccionado. Muchas gracias por unirse y pues vamos a empezar con el contenido. We're going to begin with the content of the PowerPoint. So what is the Connecticut Pyramid Partnership? The training that we are doing is based on this pyramid training. And the pyramid model builds upon tiered public health approach to providing universal supports to all children and basically to promote wellness. Targeted services to those who need more support is also available. This is a research-based approach, and it's being implemented in many states. Is used by early childhood consultants, early childhood providers, by parents, and Connecticut has created the Pyramid Partnership so that in our state, early childhood practitioners, caregivers, and families can use this model to promote young children's social emotional development and also to prevent challenging behavior. The pyramid model was developed by two nationally, federally funded research training centers. One is the Center for the Social and Emotional Foundations for Early Learning and the Technical Assistance Center on Social Emotional Intervention for Youth Children. And what is the goal of the pyramid model? So they use evidence-based practices, and it's a very cohesive approach to ensure building positive relationships with children, to develop a supportive and nurturing environment for the young ones, and also to provide individualized supports to address persistent challenging behavior when needed. So they also have some PDFs available on their website, and I can put the link later on. And they're called the Backpack Series. And in this Backpack Series, they go over how to help children recognize emotions, how to help children communicate anger, how parents can set routines for their own children. So it's a really wonderful resource available to early childhood educators and also to parents.
So today, our next slide is teaching your child to become independent with a daily routine. So a lot of people challenge with that. Your children can learn how to do it, simple daily self activities. They just need to be taught what to do. So when we teach our child to do the self-care skills, you first need to know what they can typically expect of a young child. your child's skills level and how to provide clean and simple instructions about how to do the task, what are we asking them. So it's a very challenging thing that everybody faces with their children. So we have to depend on their age, what are expectations for them to do to be independent. So depends on their age. We're gonna give some examples for you guys here.
And it's also very important to emphasize that you do need to provide children with a lot of encouragement that is both positive and specific, and this will promote your success to setting daily routines for the kids. So like Vanessa mentioned, we really need to know what to expect for children, and we have put together the slides divided by age so that you have an idea more or less of what you can expect from their developmentally. So between children between 8 and 18 months, they can drink from a cup, they can pick up food with their fingers, and they can start using a spoon. They can help you to get them dressed and undressed, put their foot in the shoe, maybe the arm in the sleeve. They can point to body parts, and they have strong feelings. That's when they really start saying no. They can also reach and point to things, and they can imitate sounds and movement. So just remember, children are born with a social brain, and they're ready to learn from the interactions that they have with you. So they can imitate sounds, they can imitate movement, and they can understand more than they can say. So in other words, their brain is developmentally ready to learn from all the social cues and from all the interactions that you provide them with.
So then we're gonna move for children to 18 to 36 months old. So again, we are their model, and they can wash their hands with help, put their clothes in the hamper when we ask them, feed themselves with a spoon, push and pull toys, fill with, dump containers, learn how to use the toilet, pouring and washing and dressing, imitate simple actions, become easily frustrated. I'm sure everybody knows that one. Enjoy trying to do tests on their own. Note that's why tests now it's more a little complete. So we need to give them examples and show them what we expect from them. We can't just give them, okay, we're gonna wash our hands if they never experienced that. And a lot of patience, a lot of repetition, and we have to be their model on a daily basis. Anybody has an example, would like to say anything, feel free to unmute it and jump it in. Go ahead, Adriana.
Thank you. And this is an overview so that you know developmentally at what stage the child is and the things that they can do and or are having difficulty, so that you can identify, okay, my child is able to put the shoe on, but he struggles, brushing teeth, etc. Those self-help skills. So typically children who are 3 years old, they can help with brushing teeth. They can understand, they can start making connections about time, now, soon, or later. They can help you put their dirty clothes in the hamper independently. They just need clear instructions, right? They can get their shoes from the closet. They can put on the shoes without ties. They're starting to really listen more attentively to what you have to say. They want to be heard. They put non-breakable dishes in the sink. They can help you put the trash in the trash can, and they can wash their body with your help. They can wash and dry hands, though they may need some help reaching. So like reaching the sink, being able to pour the soap on their hands. But it's very important that they do these skills and that you model them, because that's going to boost their development.
And just I want to add something just to remember, this is just some examples that we're giving to you guys. If your child is 3 years and 2 months and he's not doing that, couple of things. A lot of parents start freaking out. So remember, every child has their own developmental time. Now everybody's gonna do everything at the same time. So just keep that in mind, that they get there is just a lot of repetition, especially kids with developmental delays. They get there as we practice, a lot of practice. So now we have some examples for a 4-year-old. So they can understand simple, clear rules. So we always have to make sure we speak slow and clear and small sentences for that age of group. They can start, share, and begin taking turns. Not every kid likes that part, but that's when they start learning, sharing and taking turns. They can wash themselves in a bathtub, brush their teeth independently. If you see they're struggling a little bit, let them do it. And then, oh, mommy's going to help a little bit in the back. We didn't get very well in the back, always with the supervision so they get better what they're doing. Wash and dry their hands, pick it up their toys, and help match socks or doing laundry. That's something to keep them busy when you want them help. Oh, come on, help mom putting the socks together or matching, those toys. Those are always skills that on a daily basis, routine, they are learning how to separate it by color, how to sort by, cars versus airplanes or dolls and whatever else they're playing with. So that's all skills that they need to practice, and we just need to be there to guide them.
And I also want to add that other cognitive abilities are developing when children are 4. And that could be that they start learning new words quickly. They're able to recognize stop signs and maybe their own name in print. They can start following 2-step commands and directions that are sometimes unrelated. So a lot is going on in the brain when the child is 4. They're more attentive and they're more cognitively ready for you to give them directions that are more explicit. Children who are 5, so we're talking about skill set in young children, and they can follow established rules and routines. So for instance, you can already set the tone in your home that we're gonna have dinner, but before we have dinner, we need to wash our hands. They are able now independently to put their dirty clothes in the hamper and brushing their teeth before going to bed. So it is really important that you have established the rules for them to follow, because they need that explicit modeling and they need to understand what is going to happen. So in order to eat, I need to wash my hands. They can also independently initiate a simple routine. For example, getting dressed and undressed, brushing teeth, washing hands, eating dinner sitting at the table, and taking a bath with an adult watching. They begin to understand everybody's feelings, so they're able to put themselves in the shoes of their peers, for instance. So they start expressing their emotions more coherently and cohesively. So if another child falls down in the playground, they might run to their aid. So that's a very important part. Their emotional development is starting to bloom. And they can be very independent with most of their self-care skills. As Vanessa was saying, and I think Vanessa, if you want to go ahead and say this one.
Sure. So sometimes children with disability might need special assistance to become more independent and doing the daily routine. You might want to do the couple of ideas that we're going to give it to you. So expect your child to do only part of the routine while you assist with the part that they have more difficult. So provide help to your child so that he or she can complete the task. Provide instructions in a different format by modeling or using pictures, gestures, so the child can understand what to do, and allow extra time to complete. So a lot of times, we forget about it and we put our dailies on automatic. So it's very important to remember, especially with those kids that's a little bit delayed or have some, diagnosis. So we have to remember that a lot of times we say, get your clothes and put it on a ramp and do something else. So that's too much information. We have to remember, slow down, and everybody, you know, have to do what's work for your house. You know, some kids need the visual. We're going to talk about a little bit in the next couple of slides. Just, you know, remember to give them more time. And when you notice your child is struggling, you just repeat, you know, go down to their level and repeat what we say. Make sure they're paying attention. And if you have to break an instruction, like wash your hands, you know, you have to turn the water on, put the soap, scrub. So that's a lot of steps for a child. So, okay, first let's open the water. Good job. And always remember to reinforce what they're doing. Very good. So always, you know, give them good job. Now what's next? If the child can't communicate it because it's nonverbal, for example, you can say, okay, next is the soap, and let the child follow the steps with our prompt. When we're teaching our child independency and self-routine, like brush your teeth or washing our hands, getting dressed and undressed. So we have to begin getting down, like I said, you know, to the child's level. So we, you know, we look like a gigantic person compared to a little child. It's always important. So we go down to their level. I didn't know this when my child was little. So I always try to reinforce that little test, like go down where they can see us the same level. So, and get their attention, because sometimes the kids are all over the place. So we can, hey, look at mommy, we're gonna do this now, you know, and then we can point, you know, touching them face. Okay, look at me, look what are we doing next? You know, and breaking down again the routines like we spoke earlier, you know, in little steps. You know, each step, you know, one at a time, and reinforce the positive and clear stated the direction. So sometimes we forget about it. They're little and they might be confused. They're a little bit behind. So we have to remember to be clear and slow. They will get there. Even though the whole neighborhood's doing, don't worry about it. Focus on your child needs, and little by little, step by step, they'll get there.
And I want to add that we all know that it's very difficult to have a conversation with someone if we do not have their attention, right? And this is very true for both children and adults. So part of this is you knowing how to capture your child's attention in a positive manner. Vanessa gave some examples: touching the child gently on the shoulder, making sure you have eye contact with him, because a lack of understanding of how to get attention in a positive manner, it's a skill they need to have. It's a good foundational skill for them to know how to really get you to get their attention, and they to get your attention as well. Another technique that you can do is to clarify the steps even further. You could take a photo of each step in their routine, and you can post it in a place where the routines take place. For instance, when you're teaching your child to hand wash, you could post photos above the sink as you state one step at a time. You show the child the photograph to really illustrate what needs to be done. What is the process of washing hands? So here's Jimmy, here's a photo of Jimmy. Jimmy, you know, opens the faucet. Jimmy places his hands under, you know, everything divided in steps. Kids are very visual. So the more visuals you can integrate in those daily routines, I feel the more successful you're going to be.
And when we're teaching our child to do each step or model, like we demonstrated with this picture, how to do each step. After your child beginning the learning process, the step, you can turn and show them how to do it. What is our expectation? Because they never did it, and they're not going to do like we do. So each step is very important. The visual, a lot of kids need the visual, because either with a picture or ourselves showing them, you know, so they can be prepared to provide your child what they're supposed to do. So we can show with pictures or just doing the action, like in that picture, how to sweep the floor.
Exactly, and allow them to make mistakes. I feel in retrospective, when my son was little, I was more concerned of him doing things right than letting him do it his own way. So in retrospective, I feel that if I had allowed him to make those mistakes, maybe, that would have been more reinforcement for him, to an example for him. We talk a little bit about the necessity of using visual schedules, especially for young children with, and this applies to all children. As I said, they're highly visual. Some of them rely more on visuals than others. So the use of a visual schedule in terms of setting routines and daily morning routines, etc., is very important. You can use items such as photos, clip art, or objects that show your child the steps in the morning routine. The visual schedule can really help him understand what the expectations of the morning routine are, and they can set the tone for the morning. So, and actually, children love to succeed. They want to get your attention, your positive feedback. So the more you have a tone set in the morning of the things that are expected, and they're able to use the schedule, I feel the more success you will have. Some visual schedules are available for purchase. I don't feel they're very expensive. I think Amazon has a really good array of visual schedules that you can purchase, but you can also do your own. You can take photos of him doing certain things, you can laminate those, and you can just hang it by the kitchen or by his room where he does his self-help activities. So it is important to keep that in mind, that the use of visual schedules, it's a proven technique to enforce a successful routine.
And I want to add to Adriana that of course, you're not going to do that with a baby, but as the kids get a little older, you can help them help you with a schedule. So for example, like a bed routine, we have like, we're going to brush, we're going to have a shower, whatever your routine is. We're going to eat dinner, then we're going to have a shower, we're going to brush our teeth, and we're going to read a book, and we're going to go to bed. So it's 5 things. So a lot of times they don't want to do that order because they want to watch TV or whatever. So have those pictures and have the child help you put it together. What do we do first? Then what can we do next? And it's not like routine can also, like things not always going to be perfect in the order. Sometimes as they get older, you can negotiate because they're fighting with you about watching their show, and it's time for the shower. So we can say, okay, so it's time for a shower. Let's have a shower, and then we can finish our show later. So we can always be a little flexible, but they will start to understand what is the steps for bed routine or in the morning, so we don't go crazy. Everybody's trying to leave the house. So they will get it as they get older. So
Vanessa, I want to add something. You just made a good point. And I feel also giving the child a little bit of power over the routines and the schedule is very important. So when you use a visual schedule, you can say, for instance, first get dressed and then you get a choice. So would you like to have cereal or would you like pancakes for breakfast? So you're involving them, and they're feeling like they're part of this decision-making process as well. Go ahead, Vanessa.
So we have to identify when you need a visual schedule. So everybody's different, every child is different. So we have to pay attention to our children to decide, okay, they do need the visual or they don't. A visual schedule might outline parts of the day, half day or the entire day, depends on the needs of your family and your child. Pick the time of your day when your child might need extra support to engage in activity or cope with transition. So we always have to pay attention what's going on our daily. The child go to school or not go to school, all that is going to change your schedule as they grow. List the steps you want your child to follow. For example, in the morning, like I said, eating breakfast, brush your teeth, get dressed, we go in a car. So that's very important to keep, and try to, it's not that the schedule is not flexible. Like I say, people get sick, things got canceled, school is delayed. We have a snow day, no school today. So a lot of things that can happen without our plan. So it's important to explain that to the child. You can add things as you go. For example, you set up the schedule for the next morning with your child for going to school, but guess what? His school is canceled. So you can make that, okay, what can we do? What are we gonna do? If there's no school, we're gonna add different things to our schedule. So it's always good to communicate it and use the visual as we go, because days never gonna be the same. Go ahead, Adriana. And like we talked before, a lot of prompts. Children need a lot of prompts. Some young children moving from one activity to another, playing with the toys to the dinner time, or playing outside at bedtime, watching a movie to brush your teeth, results in confusion, frustration, and challenging behavior. So adults can help children predict what's coming next, which might help transition smoother. So that's very important too, because they don't want to stop the fun stuff to take a shower or watching their favorite show to go eat dinner. So I think if you all have little kids here, we go through that phase. So it's a lot of prompt and negotiating. It's not going to be easy. They're going to understand that right away, but don't give up. Routine, 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 and repeating, and a lot of prompts. That way they'll get there.
And I would like to add also the power of consistency. Yes. So for example, if you're allowing your child to play with toys during dinner time one time, and the next day you don't, and the next day you do, so you need to be consistent with the rules that you play with them, or that you set for them, so that they follow what is expected. They model your behavior. So no playing with toys at dinner time. And if that's the expectation that you have to really be consistent. Another strategy that we use is the use of first and then language. So first you clean the dishes, and then we can play with blocks. Or first you wash your hair, and then we play in the bath. So it is very important because they know what is expected of them. I also want to say that you can use visuals with this as well. So you can have a postcard, and I don't have an example to show you, but in the postcard you can show him doing a homework or picking something up in the room or whatever it is, and then you can put the reward, whether it is access to play with Play-Doh or sometime outside, or even sometime with the tablet, whatever it is that he will feel rewarded, you can do it also visually. So you can use it verbally, and then you can reaffirm these strategies with the use of visuals using the first and then language. I also want to say that it's important to include bonding time in your routine, time to read, time to bathe or snuggle. This will help the child feel loved and calm as he begins the task for the day. Does anyone have any questions, any comments, any examples, anything that resonates with you that you want to share with everyone?
Yeah, I would like to share. I have two kids. I have a 3.5 and a 13-year-old, and they are visual learners. They really need to see the things in order for them, because if they don't see it, they completely forget about it. So I definitely attest to that part, that I constantly have to remind them, okay, this is what we have to do. This is what's going to happen. I know it's hard, but like we mentioned in the video, children that have certain disabilities, they're not always able to learn at the same pace as other children. So we may have to constantly be on top of them.
Thank you, Jackie, for sharing. So like Adriana said, first and then. So that's a very important language that we have to use with little kids. So they understand what's come first, and then we do this. It's like Jackie said, it's not very easy, They will protest, they will gonna throw a fit, they're gonna try to negotiate, the war is ending, but they okay. They're not dying. So we have to, like Adriana found the word that I was looking for, the consistency. That's the very key word. Because if you give a little bit, they're very smart kids. So if you give it in today because we are tired, we just have a long day, then trust me, the next day they're gonna push even harder. So try to keep with the routine, with the first, and then use the board, whatever works for your family is very important to the routine. So that's always about like keep the routine. Of course, sometimes it's a little tricky because our daily sometimes change, but as much as possible to keep the routine and reinforce. First, we gotta do this, then we do that. They might throw a fit for a little bit, but if you are strong and keep it together, they're gonna push. And I think, mommy didn't really give in. I might as well just pick it up the toys so I can watch TV. So they will do it.
Yeah, and also realize that sometimes you're gonna encounter some challenging behavior when they're learning to do self-help skills on their own. Because as they grow, they're learning all kinds of new skills that will help them become more independent. A child might be using challenging behavior to communicate a variety of messages. It's not that the child is problematic, it's that the child is encountering a problem. For example, the child might need help with a task and crying results in you providing immediate help. Or a child may have a tantrum to communicate that the task might be a little bit too difficult for him. Other children also have challenging behavior because they do not want to leave a preferred activity. For instance, if they're playing with toys, if they're having a lot of fun doing something, to do something that is less interesting in their eyes. So if you think about it, the message that your child is trying to convey through this challenging behavior is not that they are problematic, it's simply that they're having a difficulty transitioning from one preferred activity to a non-preferred activity. In these cases, you are telling me that you don't want to stop playing for your bath, but it's time to be all done and get in the tub. That's an example. If the child is playing with toys and is not really working on those self skills while he's taking a bath. So keep that in mind that this is not going to be easy. This is going to take practice, like Vanessa said, and to be aware of those situations where you're going to encounter challenging behaviors and how do you respond to those challenges is what really makes the difference. Remember that preschoolers are moving from the toddler stage, and as they move from that stage, as we go through the development, there are many things that are happening in their brains. So in this new stage, they're going to become independent little people. You know, your child might need a bit of extra help cueing when, extra help from you or cueing when learning new skills that build his or her ability to be more independent around everyday routines. So be very aware of your language, the language that you use. Give a lot of encouragement. Remember that they want your attention. They're trying to communicate with you, and that you can rely on very powerful language like, I love how you're doing that. Instead of saying great job, you can say, I love how you're doing that. So try to spell out exactly what you're doing well. You could say, I love how you're sharing your crayons with your sibling, or it's awesome that you finish your homework before asking to use your tablet. And so use that language with them, build their ability, build their confidence, so that they can learn new skills every day through your interactions with them. As I said, they're born with a social mind, they're ready to learn from you.
When your child doesn't understand what he or she is supposed to do, and an adult express to see action, the result is often challenging behavior, like we've been talking. A tantrum, a cry, aggressive. A child is more likely to be successful when he or she is told specifically what they should do rather than what they should not do. So it's very tricky, but we have to be very clear on what we expect them to do versus what they're not supposed to do, because they don't like the word no. Go ahead, Vivi, you have your hands up.
Yes, also as a toddler teacher, I would recommend the parents on Saturday and Sundays is a free day, but they continue with the routine. So children don't return to school Monday like it's a whole new ball game.
Thank you for sharing. That's very true. So, you know, if someone here that's a professional dealing with kids, it's very important to, you know, talk to the parents. So that's the routine we use in class. The communication is very important so that we can continue in school, and vice versa. If your child is at home and just going to start school, you know, talk to your teacher, explain how you do it, how your child is visual, so the teacher can adapt their skill in class, so the child, when they first arrive, they can continue and learn, because it's going to be a new routine, it's going to be new people, new environment. So it's very important to keep it in mind.
Yes, and as Vanessa said, all of these little strategies that we're saying, they're applicable to preschool classrooms as well. And so providers can include things such as arrival time, bathroom time, cleanup time, nap time, and departure time. Many routines also can include meal or group time. These are necessary and they're very helpful to build a consistent classroom community. So it can be applied not just for parents in their home, but also for providers in their settings. Remember, following a visual schedule is a skill that children need to learn. You can teach your child how to do this by referring to the schedule often. Children use visuals at school and early childhood programs. So all of these strategies can be implemented in the classroom setting as well. Praising children when they put their utensils away, their crayons, their books, all of those things are important as well. Anybody has any strategies that has worked for them? Perhaps we have some early childhood educators in the room that want to share.
They're shy today. And just remember, behavior is always a form of a communication. If your child is having a behavior, it's not for no reason. It's always a reason, especially for those that are nonverbal or have a low vocabulary. If they're having a tantrum or throwing something, they might have a headache, but they can't tell you that he have a headache, or something hurt, or he doesn't want to eat, or he doesn't like. So there's a lot of things can happen with the behavior that they try to communicate. They always try to tell us something. So it's very important to pay attention to your child actions, how they behave on a daily basis, because when they don't behave, something they're trying to tell you.
And also the bottom line is really remember that a morning routine is a daily opportunity for you to build a very nurturing and positive relationship with your child or with your young student. When you follow a repetitive morning routine, you allow the child to gain practice. And by gaining practice, they're learning important skills such as dressing, bathing, grooming. You are giving them a feeling of confidence and success. And this is going to promote their independence. A calm, loving morning routine at home or at school sets really the tone for the entire day for both you and the child, or you and the children that you work with. So I think with that, we conclude our presentation for today. There is a website that you see in this slide about challenging behavior. If you want to get some hands-on materials and strategies, there's printouts, there's many documents and research-based strategies that you can implement in the classroom or at home with your little one. Are there any questions, any comments, anybody wants to share out a little story or something?
I just think it's very important to add songs to transitions or to behaviors. there's so many songs in so many languages that you can edit for children to do, clean up, doing the daily activities, whatever they wanted to do at home with them. That's so much easier.
Thank you so much for that. That's so true. The use of music is an incredible, powerful tool for children, and they enjoy it very much. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We hope to have the information for the next session as soon as next week, and we will be in touch with you. But on behalf of everyone here at CPAC, we really appreciate you taking the time to share with us.
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody, we will post on our social media, but the next section for February is going to be on Valentine's Day, actually, on February 14th at the same time. So we'll be here. If anybody has any, would like to know about something specific, feel free to email us about, I would like more information about whatever, so we can put it together, a presentation for you guys. Thank you for being here. If anybody has any question, everybody's good. They're very quiet today.
All right.